Hello everyone, welcome back. So in today's video I will be going through the process of installing dbt core in Google Cloud BigQuery. But before we get started, let me just quickly walk you through dbt at a high level if you have not heard of it. So dbt stands for data build tool, and so traditionally in our ELT or the ETL process, where you ingest your data from the source and you either transform it and then after that you load it. So that was the traditional ETL process, where you're ingesting your data from whatever your source you're bringing from, and then there is either custom code or a ETL tool, basically a tool that transforms the data before you load it to your data warehouse. So that was a traditional way, but the more recent one is this one called ELT. So ELT is the process where you're ingesting your data or basically extracting it, and once you do that, you load it to your database or data warehouse, and then from there you do your transformations. So dbt stands at the end of this ELT, so it is the transformation part of that. So what happens is you extract your data, you load it to your data warehouse, and then from there you transform it. So dbt is one of the tools that you can use to transform your data once it is in the data warehouse. So basically it comes with a lot of features, this dbt tool, and I'm not going to go through all of the features. I'll put this link in the description and you can go through it. There are a bunch of videos that explain in detail what dbt does and some of the features, and maybe in future I will go through this. Maybe I'll just probably cover most of these features in detail, but at a high level, you can use it to create your data models. You can fashion them either with, you can just fashion them with fashioning tools like Kit, GitHub, GitLab, whichever Kit provider you use. And then you can also create SCD2 type 2 using this feature called snapshot in dbt. You can also test them, test your data to make sure that either if you have unique records that you truly want them to be unique, or you want some certain fields not to be null, so you can use dbt to test that and basically document it so that other people can read it, or even in future whenever you come back you can come and check what you did and basically understand what was done. You can also create sort of DAGs on how your data is flowing. So this dbt has a lot of features, and yeah, once you get to it, if you still new to it, you will definitely learn a lot about it. So like I said again, traditionally you ingest your data, you transform it, and then after that you load. But with dbt, you extract it, load your data, which is the ELT part. So you extract it from different sources using different third-party tools, Fivetran, Astion, Airbyte. You load it to your data warehouse, and then once your data is in your data warehouse, the third step after that is you transform it so that either reporting teams or business folks can use that data for whatever purposes they're using it for. So here in the data warehouse is where you have dbt. So you write your models, you get your data from your data warehouse or database, transform it, and then either write the transformed data to a final schema in your database, or to some other destination, and then from there either reporting people can use it, or even internal folks can use it for whatever reason. But basically the idea is you're transforming your data once you've loaded it, and it's a pretty good tool to use. There are two versions of dbt. There's dbt cloud and dbt core. This second one is the one that we will be focusing in this video, dbt core. So the major difference between these two is this dbt core is a open source tool. So this is basically free. You can install it in your environment and use it without having to pay. With dbt cloud, there are different plans for this, but most of them you have to pay if you're using it with a large team. And mostly this one is a browser based, so you once you install it and connect it to your cloud provider, either AWS, BigQuery, Azure, you get the browser version, and that is where you run dbt and connect to your sources, do your transformation, fashion it. It's pretty fast, and if for folks who are not from or are not comfortable using CLI, because this one is mostly CLI or command line interface tool. If you're not comfortable with this, you can go with the dbt cloud. But again, dbt cloud, you have to pay for it. dbt core, it's free. Most people, at least in my experience, I've seen go with the second option of dbt core, because you don't have to pay for it, and it's not that hard to spin it up and use. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover in this video: dbt core. How do you install it in your BigQuery environment? Okay, so let's get to that process of how you do that. So what I will do is I will open my Visual Studio Code, and if you've been watching my previous videos, this is one of the code editor that I really like using, Visual Studio Code. But you can use other editors if you like. I just like VS Code because it comes with a lot of extensions that you can connect to your different databases or data warehouses. So it's pretty neat tool to use. So once you're here in your VS Code, what I will do is identify a folder, basically create a folder in your Explorer, workspace basically. So for me, in my desktop, I have this. I created a folder called dbt. So if I go back there in my desktop, so this is my desktop. I have a dbt folder here, right here. So it's currently empty, and all you have to do is open that folder here. So again, just go to File, Open Folder, and then click that folder right there. So it's going to open it in your Visual Studio Code. So from there, this one is empty. So what I need to do now in order to install dbt core is create a virtual environment for Python. I don't want to install the dbt library for BigQuery globally in my environment. So for me to isolate that, I just need to create a virtual environment where I can install that library. And in future, whenever I don't need it, I just delete it, and it's not going to affect anything in my global workspace. So to create a virtual environment, all you have to do is do Python virtual environment, and I'm going to create a virtual environment called dbt v&v. V&v basically stands for virtual environment, and this is cool. I mean, creating virtual environment is really a preferred and best practice for developers if you're working with Python, so that you just install your libraries within this virtual environment. So it's been created. If you expand this, you will see a number of folders. The one that we want to go to is the scripts one, so I'm going to go into that. So cd dbt v&v, and then scripts folder, and then from there all I have to do is activate the virtual environment. Okay, so that's activated. I will go back up to my dbt environment here, or my dbt folder, and then from there the next thing that we want to do is to install the library for dbt that integrates with BigQuery. So you can either do, there are two things you can do: pip install dbt BigQuery. So dbt BigQuery is the library that installs the dbt core that connects to BigQuery. So you can do this and run it, or if you want, for example, if you want to add more libraries in future. So you can do the requirements. You can create the requirements text file here, and requirements text file, and basically here just put that on dbt BigQuery like that, BigQuery, yeah, and then save it. And now what you have to do here is just say pip install, and this is if you have the version, you can just do and put the version 1, 2, or 3, I don't know. For me, I'm just going to do this, and it's going to install the latest version for dbt BigQuery. So I'll do here dbt. I want to install all the libraries that I have included in this requirements of text file. So for that, I'll just do pip install and then the text file there. So this is going to install dbt core in my virtual environment. Okay, so this might take a minute or two. So while this is running, what I will do is go through the next steps. So because we want to install this in Google BigQuery, there are two requirements that you need for this. You need to have the project created. Actually, not two, there are several of them really, depending on at what stage you are in your Google Cloud platform setup. So you do need your project to be created. So let me just go back to my Google environment or Google Cloud platform. So you do need to have a project. So this is a project that I've been using. And if you're new to this, you can just go here, I guess. You can you can go through the process of creating one. I think there should be somewhere here to create. Yes. So you'll go have. I think that if you don't have it the very first time you log in here, it's going to, the page will be different for you. But if you have one already and you want to create another one, just click here and create a new project, and it's going to walk you through the process of doing that. So I'm not going to do that. But yeah, you do need to have this project, and later when we initialize our environment, we will be using the ID. Then number two, because we will be writing into BigQuery, you will need a dataset created in BigQuery. For me, I think for this demo, we will be using this dbt dataset. Currently, it's empty. I haven't created anything, so I created it a few minutes ago. And basically, all you have to do to create is just create a dataset and specify the name there, and just go ahead, and if you want to do the region, you can specifically choose the region. For me, I'm using multi-region default. I'm just going, just put the name there and create it. So we do need this dataset, or you can use also existing datasets if you have one that you play with. You can use that. It doesn't matter. And then the third most important requirement is your service account. So in your service account, you will need to have these two permissions enabled for BigQuery. So this BigQuery data editor and BigQuery user. So your service account should have these two roles activated. So if I go to the service account that I'm using this one currently for me, and I just put it. This is my personal environment. I put BigQuery admin. You don't really need to do this. You can, just because of security reasons, you can reduce the permissions. But if you want to add the those two roles mentioned, all you have to do is go add another role and then go to BigQuery right here, BigQuery, and data owner is one of them. Sorry, data editor, and also data user, BigQuery user right here. So you enable these two. Basically you just create and then save it, right, for both of those. And it's going to upgrade it. But if you have BigQuery admin, then basically you have all of the permissions. So you don't really need to have this BigQuery user if you have the admin role enabled. But if you don't have the admin role, then you can just add those two additional roles, the dbt data editor and BigQuery data user. Okay, so those are the two that you'll need. So let's go back and see how far we are. So this one seems like it is still running. So let's see what else we can cover as we wait for that. So again, this is the documentation for dbt, and you can just browse it and read all of this. It is quite robust, and there are different ways, of setting up your dbt to connect to different data warehouses, Snowflake, Redshift, Postgre, Alloy DB setup. So there's a lot of them. And this is what I was talking about, dbt cloud. So dbt cloud features, for example, you get the dbt cloud CLI, you get the cloud IDE, and you can manage your environments there. Okay, so this is fully IDE based, that is in cloud, and you don't have to worry. You just connect. This actually, I think it's quite faster and easier to connect to your data warehouse or a cloud environment than CLI, because all you have to do is, as long as you have your environment set up in whichever provider you're using, then you just connect to it, and it's ready for you to use. It's really easy to spin it up. Yeah, so there are quite a number of these setups here that you can look through and basically learn a lot about it. Okay, so let's see. Looks like it's done now. All right, so this is done. So now and you can do pip freeze to see if it's available, or what is in your yeah. So pip freeze seems like we have a lot here, and the one we're looking for is dbt core, dbt bigquery here. So it's installed version 1.8.1. okay, so now the dbt library has been installed. The next thing really is to initialize your dbt environment. So to do this, all you have to do is do dbt init, and again you must be inside your fragile environment, because that's where the library is. If this one is not enabled or activated, this is going to fail because you have not installed this in your global environment. Okay, so alright, so it's asking us here to enter the name for your project. So this is really the dbt project. So here I'm going to say dbt core, and then it's asking you which database you would like to use, and there's only one, so I'm going to use BigQuery because we installed the library for BigQuery. So it's just, it knows it based on the library that we have in our dbt library. So I enter here one, and then this is what I was talking about. There are two ways that you can connect to your BigQuery environment, either through auth or a service account. So with service account, the second one, if you choose the second one, you will have to specify the key file. So key file is when you create your service account, there's an option for you to create a key as well, and basically it's just a JSON key, and you create it, you save it somewhere in your in your workspace, and then you point to it if you choose the second option. I'm going to go with the first one, the auth one, but both of these two should work fine for you. The second one, you'll have to specify the path where your JSON file lives. So for me, I'm just going to go with the first one. Here it's asking you for your GCP project ID. So that's what I was talking about. So if you have the project ID, just copy it. So for me, this is the ID right here. I'm going to take it and I will paste it here. And then the dataset name, the name of your dbt dataset. So this is the dbt dataset in BigQuery. So if you go to BigQuery, I mentioned that we will be using this dbt dataset. you can create one and just use it. So I'm going to copy this part here and put it here. Okay. Threads, one or more. I'm just going to say one. This is just for me. 300 timeout is the default. 300 seconds. That's fine with me. The region here, this is optional, but I will choose US because that's where I'm located. And then that's it. So your profile has been created. So note of this location says your profile was written to your users directory, dbt profiles. So that is located. If you navigate to this location, you will see it. You can also go to your users. So I'm going to go there. I'm going to go to users, my name there, and if you see, this is the dbt.dbt folder that your profile will be written in. And I'm going to open this and just show you what is in there. So if you see, it created our dbt profiles. This is the dbt project. Dbt core is specified, and the rest of the outputs are here. So this is how it's structured. So you have the dev environment written, that is your output, and dbt dataset is your BigQuery dataset, and the project is this one. Okay. And our method of authentication is auth, and some of these other options here. Okay. So our file is ready now. Now the next thing to do here is to run dbt debug to validate the connection. So dbt debug, when we run it, if it runs successfully, it will tell us that either it's working fine or not. So let's go ahead and do that. Dbt debug. See what happens. Okay, so dbt debug is just a dbt command that tells you whether your setup is correct or not. So here we can see one check failed, and it failed on dbt project. So it says it was not found. So let's see. Okay, I know why. So we are inside here dbt this folder, but we don't see a profile anywhere here. So let's expand this one, a dbt core, and yes, our dbt project is right here. So that means we ran the command one level up. So we just have to go to dbt core and then run dbt debug again and see what happens. Okay, so this time things look to be looking okay. All right, so there we go. All checks passed now. So that means that we are able to connect to BigQuery and our profile is looking good. Okay, so at this point in time, then you can say that you have set up your dbt core and you're able to connect to BigQuery. Now the next step that we will do is run our models and see if they will be created in BigQuery. So I am not going to change anything here. If you see, we have been given an example here, and the schema for this is looking like this. This is just a basic template that comes with dbt core when you install it. So it has all of this folder. Sales is like your static files, CSV files, and JSON files, and things like that. But models, these models is where now your models will be living. And models are basically .sql files, bunch of select statements with ginger templating and all of that. Basically you point it to your source and then do the transformation in SQL, and when you run dbt, it's going to create your models in your target destination. So macros, this is where you put your SQL functions for reusable functions that you can call in your models. But yeah, so as you can see, dbt core, when you did the init, it created all of these structures. So you have analysis, logs, macros, and snapshots. This is for your SED2 type 2. If you want to fashion your data. Let's say you have a slowly changing data that's coming over time, and you want to update that data as it changes, you know, along its time or lifetime. So you can create your snapshots here and fashion your data. So what we're going to do is we're just going to run it and the way it is and see what happens. So to show you that I currently don't have anything in my dataset, we say that the dataset is going to be dbt dataset. What we want to see when we run our first, the very first time when we run this model is that we will see two datasets, I believe two models or two tables created in our BigQuery environment, that dataset. The first one, I think it's going to be called, let's see if they change the alias here. So the model name is my first model and they didn't specify the alias. So the first one will be called my first GPT model and the second one will be my second GPT model. So this will be created as tables or materialized as tables in yeah, you can see here it will be created as tables in our BigQuery dataset. So let's see that. So to do that, I'm just going to say dbt run, and I'm just going to run it. I'm not going to select the model, but you can specify if you want to run a specific one again. You can select and say my first dbt model, and it's going to run only the one that you specified. For this case, I'm just going to run everything, and it's going to create these two models in our BigQuery environment. So let's see what happens. Okay, so it found two models like this. Yeah, we have two models, this one and this one. 4 data tests. I think we had tests here. And there we go. That one ran very fast and it completed successfully. Created dbt dataset, my first model, dbt dataset, my second model. So if we go to our BigQuery environment now, and I guess refresh it, we can see that we have two tables created here. This is the first one, and yeah, it has some data, and this is the second one with no data. Yeah. Okay, so that is basically it, really. That means that we are able now to connect to BigQuery, and we can now use our real data here to work with this data. So maybe the next time I will just delete this and show you how to create a basic model that is getting the data from BigQuery itself, and then doing some basic transformations and writing back to a final table. So that is our most likely going to be our next video. So definitely do stay tuned for that. But for this video that I had for today, I just wanted to show you the process of installing dbt core in Google BigQuery and how to run that dbt model. So that is what I had for you guys today. If you like this video, definitely give a thumbs up, and if you have not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe. I am going to be making more videos on data engineering, and you know, definitely a couple of more dbt videos, so definitely do stay tuned for that. Please subscribe and also share with your friends. If you subscribe, you'll get notifications whenever I release future videos, so it just makes it easy for you if you want to be updated on the next videos I made. Yeah, definitely subscribe. That's how also you support me and give me motivation, and it tells me if you're liking these videos. Also suggest in the comment section if there are any topics you want me to cover, or how to improve these videos. That will be definitely useful. But again, yeah, that was it for me for today. I will see you next time. Alright guys, thank you very much. Bye bye.